HostGator, nothing makes us more satisfied than helping customers succeed with their websites. Make that website purr, baby. And we're one of the leaders in web hosting. We want to serve your site, too. Snappy, he's one bad motherfucker.
Hi, everybody. I'm here with Rob Lacona, Steps Everett, the Visual Liberal.
Howdy, howdy.
So, we've told you about the problems with the Democratic National Committee. They're having their worst fundraising year in a long time. They've had their worst fundraising month since 2003 happened this year, stuff like that. So, why do you think that is? I'm going to guess because the Democrats have zero message and nothing to offer people. Nothing to offer people. Except we're not Trump. And they're not going to try it because they can't do things to help you because their donors don't want them to. The reason why you don't have Medicare for all is because the donors don't want them to. The reason why you don't have a public option is because the Democrats' donors don't want you to have one. The reason why you don't have cheaper prescription drugs is because the Democrats' donors don't want you to have it. The reason why we're not out of those wars is because their donors don't want us out of those wars. The reason why we don't have $15 minimum wage is because the Democrats' donors don't want you to have it.
See, I don't know, Jimmy. An alternative explanation. I mean, I was listening to Nancy Pelosi. I think what it is people are so happy with the direction the Democrats are going, they just don't feel the need to give any money. They're like, oh, you guys are doing such a cool direction, losing seats. So, I mean, we don't want nothing to change. We don't want to give you any more money or any less. Just let's keep it the way it is.
Keep it the way it is. So this is from Politico magazine, the Democratic Party looming fundraising crisis. So I'll read you a little bit from this article. Over the first 6 months of 2017, the Republican National Committee pulled in $75 million. Nearly twice as much money as the Democratic National Committee, which raised $38 million. Wouldn't you think it would be the opposite? Right? Wouldn't you think it would be that the Republicans would be decimated? What happened to their party? I don't want to prop this party up anymore. And the Democrats would be going gangbusters. It's the exact opposite. People don't want anything to do with the Democratic National Committee. You know why? Because you can't cheat half your fucking party and then ask them to give you money, which is what happened. I get emails from Tom Perez and Donna Brazil. They send me emails, literally. Because apparently when I donated to Bernie or whatever, I don't know what happened. I donated somewhere to somebody, and they got my email.
And every time the subject line just says values in all caps. It's so annoying.
So, more from this article, it says the predicament isn't simply that there is a funding gap between the parties. It's what kind of money they attract. Republicans have quietly taken a decisive edge over the Democrats when it comes to small dollar fundraising. The Republicans have overtaken the Democrats. The Democrats, the party of the worker, the party of the people, the party of the downtrodden and the poor and the middle class. It's now lost their funding, of their small dollar funding lead to the Republicans. The Republicans now have more small dollar donors than the goddamn Democrats. During the same 6-month time span, the RNC raised $33 million in small contributions, money from people who donate $200 or less over an election cycle, while the same class of donors gave the DNC just $21 million. Isn't this shocking? Could the Democrats be in any worse shape? Could the DNC? So every sign in the world is banging them as hard as they can on their heads to change. Donald Trump, could you have a bigger 2x4 to the head? Donald Trump beat you. Beat the woman that you've been grooming for president for 30 years. Neoliberals. And they ain't changing. They're getting out fundraised by small donors. They're losing in every way possible. They're losing. And they ain't changing. They ain't changing a little bit. As one of the people who led Senator Bernie Sanders' fundraising operations during the 2016 primaries, that's the author of this piece, I watched Donald Trump's campaign take many of our ideas and duplicate them, employing language and tactics nearly identical to those we use on the Sanders campaign. What we found to be most powerful wasn't just hiring the right people or using the right technology. What mattered more was figuring out an empowering message of hope and reaching people with it. The Democrats no longer do that. They don't have an empowering message, and they don't try to reach people with it. Back to the article, it says, in the Trump era, the Democratic Party has sputtered along with fundraising appeals focused on scare tactics. Understandable, but counterproductive. What they do is they send emails that just scare you, like, say stuff. They sent an email that said John Ossoff lost before he lost that race. That was like, what? And it's like, he will lose if you don't send us money. Or if you do, turns out. Meanwhile, Trump, a billionaire who was already president, is still winning grassroots donors by offering his supporters an empowering message. Only the Democrats could cede working class people to a billionaire carnival barker. Only the Democrats. But whereas donors who gave $200 or less comprised roughly 30% of the overall amount raised for Obama's campaigns, so you get that? So small donors made up 30% of Obama's campaign contributions. Small donors provided the Trump campaign 53% of Trump's campaign money, compared with just 21% of Hillary. So small donor money makes up more than half of Trump's campaign money. It only made up 21% of Hillary's. That's upside down and backwards? But it's not, because Democrats are corporatists, and there's no reason to vote for them. If I wanted to vote for a corporatist, I just vote for a fucking Republican. If I wanted to vote for more war, I just vote for a Republican. If I wanted to vote to screw over everybody else, I would just vote for a Republican. I don't have. Now you vote for a Democrat, you get more war, you get bigger banks, you get a right-wing healthcare plan, you get more fracking, you get cops brutalizing people at DAPL, and the president going, we're going to let it play out. Trump's success here is even more impressive than it might seem at first glance with the small dollar fundraising. He didn't start actively fundraising from grassroots supporters until June of 2016, giving him just 5 months to establish a small dollar fundraising machine that went toe-to-toe with those of Obama, Clinton, and Sanders, which each took at least a year to build. This is amazing. So I'll tell you what this tells me. This tells me exactly what we've been saying. People are hurting. Working people are hurting. And the Democrats offer them nothing. Nothing. It's simple principle, one that a Democratic candidate from Bernie to Elizabeth Warren to Obama understood, but which the institutional Democratic Party now seems incapable of grasping. And what are they incapable of grasping? What is it? That people are motivated to act when they feel like part of something larger than themselves. And when they understand that their participation in that larger something makes a real difference. The Democratic Party's woes are basic symptoms of the failure to understand that immutable reality. Most of the party's recent emails to supporters focus on simply opposing the GOP healthcare bill, using subject lines like, tell the GOP to back off, and tell Senate Republicans to show us the bill. Another significant portion of the party's emails are about Trump's Russia connections. Breaking. Donald Trump Jr.'s emails, reads one DNC fundraising email. Another asks readers to demand answers about Trump's connections to Russia. Answers from no one in particular. There's nothing wrong with talking about issues in emails. In fact, it can really motivate supporters, but without a positive context, the overall picture one gets from the DNC emails is of a directionless, reflexive party that fails to ask Democratic supporters to do more than oppose Republicans, let alone work for a different vision for the future of the country. So I get all these DNC emails, I get all of them, and it's exactly what he's describing. He's saying that all their emails are scaring you, Trump, we gotta stop Trump, but no vision, nothing asking you to do something except give them money. Not asking you to be part of something, to build something, but just trying to scare you. Gotta stop Trump. Demand answers, Trump. It's crazy. But while this strategy raises money in the short term, a party can't build a future by telling supporters hour after hour that the sky is falling. It's bad for the candidates, bad for the party, and most vitally, bad for the voters whose support they need to build up. Yeah, you can only cry wolf so long. You can only press that fear button so long. So long. If the party can honestly and authentically change its message and actions, Democratic activists would embrace it with incredible enthusiasm. Grassroots donors would jump to help tilt the balance of financial power and to shape the party's vision for future elections. Without such a change, the Democratic Party is going to keep losing to Donald Trump and Republicans in the money race, big and small. So basically what he's saying is Democrats have no message, they have no purpose, they're rudderless, all they know how to do is scare you and say we're not Trump, and guess what? They have the worst fundraising ever. And they've now ceded small dollar donation lead to the Republicans. That is unbelievable. That's how morally bankrupt this party is. And it's hard for me when I meet people who are ideologically on the same page as me, meaning they're progressives, but they still think Trump is the problem. And if Hillary just would have been president, they would. And so I have to impress upon these people, which I don't think I do. Just as Dylan Radigan says, just imagine how repulsive to the American voter that the Democrats were for them to even entertain voting for Trump. And now he's winning. Now he's winning the small money donations. Think about that. Think about that. He's winning with small money donations. That's how bankrupt the Democratic Party is. That's how unbelievably empty they are. That's how they offer people nothing. Their leaders are the people who get the most money from Wall Street. Chuck Schumer, that's the Democratic leader. Why? Because he's not a leader, but because he gets the most money from Wall Street. Wall Street, which is their agenda is diametrically opposed to workers, which is supposed to be the Democrats' base, and you wonder why the Democrats are losing the small money. And I'll throw it over to you.
Well, I'm with you, because whenever you have two parties that have the same owners, a demagogue will inevitably happen every so often. And there was that Howard Dean clip we have where he's like, well, this is how people are always going to have to be. You just have to go along with the corporatists. It's like, okay, you're basically saying we're going to have a formula where every 4 to 8 years you're going to get a demagogue, and it'll probably be progressively worse because the bar has been set at Trump now.
Yeah.
If Trump wouldn't have happened in November, Trump would have happened in 2020.
And additionally, you keep seeing this horrific Democrat leadership, and all they keep saying is, I'm going to give you the same. I'm going to keep giving you what we've given you. They don't even seem to want to acknowledge the fact that everybody's leaving the Democratic Party.
When people listen to Bernie Sanders, they do feel like they're part of something. And people that support Trump, they do feel like they're part of something. When people listen to the Democrats, they're just looking at a group of people that they're not part of, that most people will look at and say, I don't think these people could lead their way out of a paper bag.
They literally sent out another. I can't believe I don't have a picture of it. I just remembered I saw people tweeting out today. The DNC sent out a fundraising email, and it was chastising Trump for not building the wall. He promised he would build that wall. What? Literally, that's the email they're sending out.
So does it sound at all to me like we have two parties?
No, Steph, we don't. We have one money party, and that's it. And Trump is being co-opted by that one money party. We thought he was the anti-establishment guy, or we were fingers crossed hoping, and he's not.
And it's not like Michael Moore didn't come out and start saying, kicking and screaming, go speak to the working class people, Democrats. Why are you ignoring them? You're going to lose a lot of votes. They did, and they're digging their heels in. They're not giving us anything better. I totally just junk all those DNC emails.
I know, me
Every
too.
time they come up, I'm like, oh, really, Tom Perez? You got something for me today? Go.
No kidding. It's more Trump. We're Trump is bad. So there you go, DNC. There's your advice. Have a message that inspires people. They're never going to have a message that inspires people. We're for better jobs. We're for good things, and they're for bad things. Are you for single payer? Yeah, we can talk about it. Democrats are dead. Dead. They need a bunch of progressives to primary those people. So what do you think if Joe Manchin actually loses his primary and a couple other of these corporate Democrats, they can knock off Nancy Pelosi, it will turn around the Democratic Party. I think that will.
They got to knock off someone big.
They got to knock off someone big.
They got to knock off someone big. Like that. I mean, because that's kind of like looking at the other side. That's how the Tea Party did it.
Yeah.
They knocked off a few bigger names, and then it's like, oh, these people need to be taken seriously. But, progressive organizations and Justice Democrats, they don't have Coke money behind them.
Right.
The Tea Party did. That's the big difference.
That is the big difference. Well, I'll tell you, I don't know. The Democratic Party seems to be incapable of change. I think it's a dead party. That's why I'm pushing Draft Bernie. I'm going to be there in D.C. on the 8th, 9th, and 10th. I don't think the Democratic Party is going to just fold up and go away. So, you live in a reality where they're going to be there. So, I hope we can make it more lefty than it currently is. And I hope Bernie runs as an independent. These are my hopes. Who knows? I think it's going to be a shit show from here on out because the corporations have a stranglehold on not only our media and our politicians, but our entire culture. And that's just the way it is. They're not letting go. And there is no Teddy Roosevelt coming around.